Welcome to the personal Tanya. Today is the 29th day of the month of Teves, and the theme today is hope for codependence. Codependents are defined as people that are not a human being, but a human doing. People whose sense of self-worth is so shattered and broken due to the experiences of their early childhood or of their past, that they need to define themselves through their achievements as opposed to through who they are. They need to find value and validation through other people's love and acceptance around themselves instead of having that naturally come to them from within themselves. And that's an idea which is addressed in today's Tanya in the most beautiful way. As the Alter Rebbe today, in Game-Changing Inspirations from the Daily Tanya in 5 minutes or so, introduces us to a whole new pathway in our spirituality, towards self-mastery. You see, until now, in the first 9 chapters of the book of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe was explaining to us really what lies under the hood, what we have inside of us, what is our soul, how many souls we have, what the pathology, what their hydration, oxygenation, and nutrition is, what they want and what they don't want. And then we spent the next chapters from chapter 9 through 17 talking about the long way to self-mastery. So it's a method of creating emotions through meditation. We're able to control our minds. We cannot control our hearts, but we can navigate our hearts through our minds by meditating and choosing what we're going to think about, what we're going to focus on. It's that is how we're going to create an emotion. The emotion then will allow us to control our behavior. But today, the Alter Rebbe starts a new direction from chapters 18 all the way through to chapter 25, which is the shortcut method to self-mastery. Instead of a created love, the Alter Rebbe introduces us to a whole new method because not everybody can meditate. Not everybody even has the time to meditate. And remember, the verse upon which the Tanya is based says, "For the matter is very near to you to be a perfect Jew." Everyone is able to become a perfect Jew in behavior of thought, speech, and action. And it says very. So if it's very, then not everybody's able to meditate. So what's that talking about? The Alter Rebbe therefore introduces us to a way which is not through meditation, through a created love, but rather through a natural love, which is hidden inside each and every one of us. It's natural. It's already there. It's instinctive, and it's an unbreakable connection with our source in God. And when we recognize that unbreakable, when we tap into that instinctive and natural love, it's already there. And that's how we connect to the values of our godly soul, as opposed to the instincts and impulses of our natural soul. Instead of looking at our godly soul as a newcomer, as late to the game, remember, our godly soul enters at the bar and bas mitzvah, whereas the animal soul enters at birth. So instead of looking at our godly soul as late to the game, as the newcomer, as not the default, what the Alter Rebbe does in the shortcut method is actually resets our paradigm, reorients us to identify really more foundationally, more fundamentally with our godly soul than with our animal soul, so that we can be drawn to fulfill the behaviors and desires of our godly soul. To do this, the Alter Rebbe expands and he says, look, we need to understand, what is this hidden love? What is it? What's its source? What's its substance? How does it reach us? And what is up with it? Today's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explains that this love, this hidden love, comes to us from our ancestors, from our patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who were so holy that they merited to bequeath to each and every one of their descendants, every one of us, every single Jew by choice or a Jew by birth, they bequeathed to each and every one of us a soul, which was a soul like their own. A soul which was connected in a level called Chachma of Atzilus. We don't need to understand that just yet, but it's the highest level of the four worlds, a level in which God's infinite light is constantly illuminating. What that means is that every single one of us has inside of us God's infinite light already shining. It's untouchable. This light that shines within each of us, whether we admit it or not, it's there. And this light is sometimes called the Pintele Yid, the essence of Judaism, the essence of holiness that is inside each and every one of us. Now, bear in mind, this is not a love that's inherited. You don't inherit a love. If your parent loves chocolate, you don't necessarily inherit that love of chocolate. Or if your parent is afraid of dogs, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be afraid of dogs. You don't inherit an emotion. The emotion is rooted in an identity. It's not a feeling, it's an identity. The identity is that you have a piece of God's essence, of God's infinite light inside of you. Ergo, as a consequence of that identity, you feel an emotion, a hidden love towards that identity. So because you are already a piece of God, because you have a piece of infinity within you, therefore you feel an aversion from being separated from that, and you feel a desire to want to be connected with that. The question is, if you're aware of it, you just need to make that hidden love aware. And that's what we're going to be working on in the next couple chapters of Tanya. And I believe that this addresses a very powerful problem that many people struggle with today, which is codependency. When it comes to codependence, the Tanya today is telling us that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone else. There's no need to seek validation from the outside. Because instead of seeking validation from the outside, redirect your focus within, because there it is, you'll find your worth and your true value. Every single Jew has this infinite light of God within him. You are already worthy as you are. You don't need to do anything to be worthy. You already are. Even a diamond in the rough is still a diamond. This gives us a clue on how we should relate to others, but more important than how we relate to others is how we relate to ourselves. Hope for the codependents. Giving them courage, giving them direction to look inwards instead of outwards, to plot their path to peace forward. Tomorrow's Tanya continues elaborating on this spectacular hidden love inside each and every one of us. But for today, that's a wrap. Let's try to apply. You can do this.